Welcome to CBT News with Shyann Malone.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to CBT News. I'm Shyann Malone. Thanks so much for watching. And now, here's Chris Riggins with today's top stories.
Thanks, Shyann. On today's show, we're joined by Kevin Tynan, Senior Automotive Analyst at Bloomberg Intelligence. But first, November's used vehicle sales were slightly behind October's, but finished ahead of last year's, while inventory shortages continued to plague dealers. Although pre-owned supply increased over the course of the month, day supply dropped to 52, indicating sales accelerated ahead of inventory growth. Cox Automotive estimates retailers sold 1.4 million used vehicles in November, representing a month-over-month decline of 12.8%. Pre-owned car prices fell 2.1% from October and 6% from 2022, buoying sales at the cost of constraining inventories. While electric vehicle sales remain on track to continue growing in 2024, analysts are lowering their expectations for the segment as the industry grapples with underwhelming demand. Bloomberg NEF now estimates that manufacturers will sell roughly 16.7 million EVs next year, a decline of 4% from their original forecast in June. The Detroit 3 OEMs have cut EV production targets over the last few months in response to stagnating demand, potentially limiting adoption rates in the new year. Tesla has also seen a slowdown in sales due to its outdated model lineup and faces additional difficulties in 2024 if it fails to spur growth. Acting National Highway Traffic Safety Administration Chief Ann Carlson is stepping down from her role as auto regulator after holding the position for more than a year. In an email, Carlson informed NHTSA staff that she would be vacating her position the day after Christmas to comply with policies limiting tenures for temporary officials. The former safety administrator oversaw the creation of new emission standards and launched multiple investigations into self-driving vehicles, including a probe into Tesla's autopilot system. Honda plans to offer leasing for certified pre-owned vehicles in the U.S. in an effort to address affordability pressures in both new and used vehicle markets. The new lease program will offer terms for both Honda and Acura models, with the brand introducing digital tools to help consumers find deals and calculate payments. The automaker said leasing would provide a more flexible and budget-friendly alternative to financing a used vehicle. Dan Rodriguez, Senior Manager of Auto Remarketing at American Honda, called the new program a, quote, critical gateway to vehicle ownership for young and first-time buyers. Don't go anywhere. Coming up next is Kevin Tynan, Senior Automotive Analyst at Bloomberg Intelligence, to recap the 2023 car market and share his expectations for the new year. We'll be right back.
Well, if you're not already subscribed to CBT News, now is the perfect time to do it. For over a decade, CBT has brought you exclusive and in-depth interviews with dealer principals, OEM executives, industry analysts, and top-level sales and management trainers. Join the thousands of automotive professionals that rely on CBT News for the insights that drive profits and maximize the bottom line. Subscribe today.
What stands out, in terms of the last year, reflecting on the different positions of the auto industry and where we're at for 2023?
Yeah, so very interesting year. I think it was what I would call the watershed year, and then 24 is going to be decision times. And what I mean is we had this period through the pandemic where you had really an anomaly, where volume was increasing, but so was pricing and so was margin. And I'm talking about on the new vehicle side. Mm-hmm. So when there was this supply-demand balance, it really, to the benefit of dealers and to manufacturers, sort of spun the industry in a weird direction in that you could increase volume, you could get more price, and you could actually get more margin. Yeah. 23 was the year where everything sort of recoupled in that inverse relationship. Inventory builds back up, you start to see pricing weaken a little bit and margins go away, again, at the manufacturer and at the dealer level.
Right.
Now, 2024 is the year where we'll start with, let's say, about just under 3 million units of inventory, and still about that 1 to 1.5 million units per month, not seasonally adjusted, which is 2 times which is 60 days, which is where the industry always tries to get to.
Yep.
So now the question is, in 24, do you keep adding inventory and sacrifice more price and margin, or do we toe the line and say, that's it, we're going to stop here and we're going to try and keep some pricing and some margin firm? Indications so far, even in late 23, are that automakers are holding the line on inventory. We've seen Stellantis come out and talk about Jeep on last week, which was taking out a shift and some headcount out of Toledo and Detroit, Grand Cherokee and Wrangler, which are big name products. Mary Barra has said in the past that we're not going back to 2019 inventory levels. Granted, she said that when there wasn't an inventory problem or when there was still some pricing power. So we'll see as they get up towards that 60-day supply, whether they keep going or whether they back off. Feeling is they'll probably back off, and we're starting to see more and more of that.
And be sure to watch this full interview right here at cbtnews.com. That wraps up our show for today. We do invite you right back here tomorrow morning on cbtnews.com. And remember, you can stay up to date with the most recent news and trends influencing the retail automotive industry by following us on TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, and X, formerly known as Twitter. I'm Shyann Malone. Thanks so much for watching. You have a good one.
CBT News, your #1 resource for auto industry news and content.